What's up, guys? So, I wanted to talk about my experience with seeing Satan. So let's get started. So basically, this was back in 2012. If I can give you a little background on myself, at that time I was practicing asceticism. And if you don't know what that is, that's basically when you starve yourself. And you deny yourself of anything that feels good. People do this to try and attain spiritual experiences, enlightenment. Now, I don't believe it's really I don't think you should do that. And the Buddha and Krishna talk about that, those who eat too much or eat too little will not attain the perfection. Ironically, the Buddha did attain the perfection, but he realized that you shouldn't do that. And from my own experience, I don't think anyone should, really. So that being said, when I was doing this, I was always in a really bad mood. When you starve yourself, you're not going to be in a good mood. And I was kind of in a phase you might want to call the dark night of the soul. So everything just went to hell. So it's no wonder that I would have this experience. So basically, get into the experience. So I was completely sober. I wasn't getting high or anything like that. And I listened to binaural beats. When I meditate, I would lay down on my back because I find that's the easiest way to get yourself comfortable. And that. So I basically remember just I would do this method where I trick my mind into thinking that my body is asleep. I don't move any muscle in my body, just stay completely still, just lay there. And I listen to binaural beats. So eventually, my mind would think that my body is asleep. So I would go into this really deep state where my thoughts just cease to keep thinking. It ends. And I found myself in the state where I couldn't distinguish what I was and what my surroundings were. I felt like I was my surroundings. It's really weird and it's really hard to explain. But yeah, there was no difference between myself and my surroundings. It was just one thing. Just one thing. And eventually, I kind of went unconscious for a while. And I found myself in this void. Just infinitely black void. Up, down, left, right, forward, backwards. It was just one giant void. Nothing was there. But eventually I saw this dark gray smoke. It was shiny and sparkly. What's interesting about the gray smoke though is that if you've ever read into the Tibetan Book of the Dead, Tibetan Buddhism, Padmasambhava, the guy who started that tradition, he describes the afterlife with your next incarnation is going to be foreshadowed by these lights. And one of the lights, the light of the hellish realm, isn't so much a light but rather smoke. So I think I saw a glimpse of hell in this experience, and that doesn't mean that I'm going to hell, because I've also had experiences of going to heaven and uniting with God, enlightenment. But I don't think that automatically means that I'm going to heaven too. So it's all, I've had good experiences and bad experiences, but it's interesting because when you have these experiences and then you study mythology or religion, it all lines up. And I'm what is going on? I had no experience, I had no idea what was going on. And basically, I felt there was some presence of something there in that smoke. And when I noticed it, I started to hear this sound that was duh. And I'm what is going on? I had no idea. It kind of reminded me the feelings were kind of from Jaws, the dun 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 dun, that feeling something is about to happen and it's gonna scare the shit out of you. I had the feelings those feelings were there. So once it really got intense, the smoke just scattered away sort of, and I saw this gigantic, this thing was huge, this big black devil looking dragon with scary eyes, and it almost reminded me of Smaug from The Hobbit, the movie. Like, it was really scary. It was gigantic, like probably the size of a planet or something. Really big. And once I saw it, once it made itself known to me, I heard this really loud, screeching, like, horror movie scream. Like, it sounded like a little girl screaming. It was like, ah! Really loud, went right through me. And, like, this was literally the most terrifying thing I've ever experienced in my entire life. Like, nothing could compare to this. No experience I could have could compare. And I woke up, I got out of the experience, and I was just like, oh my god, like, this was freaking scary. And, you know, I learned a lot from that experience. Like, I learned to, like, control myself and be in a better mood. Like, don't, like, starve myself, because that's not working, clearly. And yeah. So I also want to talk about another time. This was about, like, 2 or 3 years later. Like, 2014 and 2015, I think. So one day, I was getting high. I don't smoke weed or anything like that anymore. I'm straight edge now. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. But back then, I was getting high one day, and I decided to meditate. And when I closed my eyes, after a while, I started to see these little, like, demon-looking devil things, like, dancing around me, sort of. There were a bunch of them. And, like, I knew part of it was because of the weed. Like, the weed was having an effect on my mind. But it seemed, like, real still, because, like, it was, like, this dreamlike experience. And, yeah, they were all, like, dancing around me. Like, there wasn't any loud sound. Like, it wasn't scaring the shit out of me. It wasn't nearly as scary as my original experience of seeing Satan that I just explained. But this was still kind of, like, uncomfortable. But what's interesting is what I did was, like, I was in such a deep state, like a meditative state, like, it wasn't bothering me. And I saw these, like, demons, as, like, myself. Like, the same way that I look at my hand, and I see my hand as myself. Like, this is just me. This isn't really, like, a separate thing. So once that happened, these, like, creatures, like, they looked like they were scared. Like, they looked like they were crying, like, ah, no, like that kind of thing. And basically, like, I think that's, like, the trick, though. You have to, like, see other things as yourself. Other people, other beings, no matter what, like, experience you're having, whether it's, like, some deep meditative state, or even in just the regular world that I'm in right now. Like, all these plants, all this stuff. This is all just, like, me. Like, that's how I see it. Like, there's, like, this in-between where, like, you can kind of, like, see it, or feel it, where, like, when you're, like, that's, like, me, and, like, you can see yourself in that. So, like, I wasn't scared, and, like, I was able to overcome these little demon creatures. And everything went well after that. Like, you can say the drugs might have caused it, but, like, regardless of whatever caused it, whether it's my mind, whether it's drugs, like, I was able to, like, identify with it. And it lifted me up from, like, the fear. Like, I wasn't really that scared to begin with, but when I saw myself in it, like, that's just, like, it was all just a game at the end of that experience. Like, it was just funny. So yeah, basically, if you're into, like, meditation or, like, out-of-body experiences or anything like that, if you find yourself scared, Terrence McKenna talks about this when, like, he refers to it when you're tripping, but start, like, singing a song, like a happy melody. But I think that could work, but what would work even better is simply seeing yourself in what you're experiencing. Because that's just, like, the truth of life, in my opinion. Like, the way I see it. Like, I don't want to claim any facts, but, like, that's the way I see it. That's my own truth, is that, like, I have to see everything as me. And, you know, like, this goes a long way. Like, it kind of, like, gives me more patience in a way. It's like I realize, like, alright, that's not a separate person that's pissing me off, that's just me. Like, if I have to deal with someone, like, doing something that I don't like, do I just, like, get angry at them? Well, not really. I shouldn't. There's no reason why you should be angry, but anger happens, and don't beat yourself up over it. But just see yourself in, like, whatever you're dealing with. And it just kind of numbs out the pain. You realize, like, alright, like, it's just you. Like, everything is you. And I think this is what enlightenment is all about. Like, you can say it's like attaining some divine perfection or something, some divine state of consciousness. But other people would define enlightenment as being like keeping your mind keeping your mind aware of like what the truth is. And I guess you have to find your own truth, but seeing yourself like is the truth in other things. For me it is, at least. And if you have trouble thinking about this or considering it, just think about it. Like, think about what our bodies are like made of. Like, they're made of little like particles and energy. But that all comes from the Big Bang. And before the Big Bang happened, it was just, I'm guessing, just empty space. We are that empty space, like all of us. We are like an expression of God. And like, even if you're in like one of those deep meditative states or an out-of-body experience, yeah, maybe they're not made of the same things as you, but in another way, they kind of are. Like, that dream energy material. Like, you ever think, like, the things that dreams are made of? Like, what is that? But regardless, like, it's all you. Like, you're made of the same thing. And, like, think about, like, the nature of dreams and these experiences. Like, in dreams, it's obvious that it's just us that's there. Like, we may not, like, realize it at the time, but when we come back from the dream, we realize, like, alright, that was just me that was there. And all those other beings, like, you might want to say they aren't real, but I think a more accurate way of saying it would be is they all are you. So, like, even those experiences show that, like, we all are each other. We all are, like, different manifestations or expressions of God. It doesn't matter how scary they seem or what actions they may perform or what they may say, but it's just us, like, I think it's a beautiful way to look at it in this way. So yeah, if you ever feel scared and you're having these experiences, just remember that it's you that's there. This is just a play that your own subconscious mind set up for you to realize that it's all you. Like, it's a game, sort of. You shouldn't take life too seriously. So life is just for fun. So yeah, that's basically what I really wanted to share. So, I hope you guys learned something. Peace.